You've heard of the Navy SEALs. You've heard of the Green Berets. You've seen the movies about Delta Force and the night the SEALs killed Osama bin Laden. But beneath those names sits a structure most Americans have never been shown. A pyramid of units, subunits, and code names, some celebrated, some erased from the public record by design. At the top of that pyramid is a unit so secret that for years the men who served in it were ordered to deny it existed. This is the architecture of American Special Operations. Every tier, every door, every name, including the ones that were never supposed to be spoken aloud. To understand why these units exist, you have to understand what failed before them. In April of 1980, 8 American servicemen died in the Iranian desert during Operation Eagle Claw, the attempted rescue of 53 hostages held in Tehran. The mission collapsed at a refueling point called Desert 1. Helicopters failed, coordination failed, intelligence failed. The Carter administration was humiliated. The Pentagon was forced to confront a question it had avoided for a decade. Why couldn't the most powerful military on Earth execute a single hostage rescue? The answer was structural. The Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines each had their own special operations capabilities, and none of them spoke to each other. There was no unified command, no shared intelligence pipeline, no single officer responsible when things went wrong. The Holloway Commission, convened to investigate the disaster, recommended a permanent counterterrorism force and a joint command to run it. What followed was a slow, deliberate restructuring of American covert warfare. The Joint Special Operations Command, JSOC, was stood up in 1980, headquartered at Fort Bragg. 7 years later, after the Nunn-Cohen Amendment to the Goldwater-Nichols Act, the United States Special Operations Command, USSOCOM, was activated at MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa, Florida. On April 16, 1987, General James Lindsay took command. For the first time in American history, every Special Operations unit answered to a single 4-star. That decision changed everything, and it created the structure we are about to walk through, tier by tier. At the broadest tier sits USSOCOM itself. It is a unified combatant command. Underneath it sit 4 service components and 1 subordinate unified command. The Army contributes USASOC, Army Special Operations Command. The Navy contributes Naval Special Warfare Command. The Air Force contributes AFSOC, Air Force Special Operations Command. The Marines contribute MARSOC, Marine Forces Special Operations Command. And then there is JSOC, the Joint Special Operations Command, which controls what the Pentagon calls Special Mission Units, Tier 1. The 75th Ranger Regiment is the largest direct action force in the inventory, headquartered at Fort Benning, now Fort Moore, Georgia. The regiment consists of 3 Ranger battalions, a Special Troops battalion, and a Military Intelligence battalion. Candidates pass through the Ranger Assessment and Selection Program, known as RASP, an 8-week course that replaced the older Ranger Indoctrination Program in 2009. The Rangers specialize in airfield seizure, raids, and direct action at scale. Since 2001, no other American conventional special operations unit has seen more sustained combat. The Green Berets, formerly the United States Army Special Forces, were authorized to wear their distinctive headgear by President John F. Kennedy in a memorandum dated April 11, 1962. Their lineage runs back to Colonel Aaron Bank and the Office of Strategic Services. Their mission is unconventional warfare, training, advising, and leading foreign forces behind enemy lines. There are 7 active Special Forces groups, each oriented to a specific region of the world. They are the quiet professionals, the men who arrive before the war begins.
Then there is 1st Special Forces Operational Detachment Delta Force, created by Colonel Charles Beckwith in 1977 after a tour with the British Special Air Service convinced him America needed its own Tier 1 counterterrorism unit. Selection takes place in the mountains of West Virginia. The pass rate is classified but credible estimates place it below 10%. Delta was operational in time for Eagle Claw and watched that mission die in the desert. That failure did not end the unit, it defined it. Consider what these units have actually done. Start with Delta and Operation Acid Gambit, December 20th, 1989. 23 Delta operators inserted by Little Bird helicopter onto the roof of the Carcel Modelo prison in Panama City to rescue Kurt Muse, an American citizen and reported CIA asset held by the Noriega regime. The assault lasted minutes. Muse was extracted alive. One of the helicopters crashed on Exfil. Every operator survived. It remains one of the cleanest hostage rescues in modern military history. Move to the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, the Night Stalkers. Formally activated October 16, 1981 at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, drawn initially from elements of the 101st Airborne Division. Their motto, Night Stalkers Don't Quit. Their promise to the ground force, plus or minus 30 seconds on target, anywhere on Earth, in any weather. They fly modified MH-60 Blackhawks, MH-47 Chinooks, and MH-6 Little Birds. Without them, none of the operations you are about to hear would have been possible, including the most famous one, Operation Neptune Spear, May 2nd, 2011. 23 Navy SEALs from the Naval Special Warfare Development Group, DEVGRU, the unit most Americans know as SEAL Team 6, launched from Jalalabad, Afghanistan, aboard 2 stealth-modified Blackhawks piloted by the 160th. The target was a compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan. The objective was Osama bin Laden. He was killed inside the building. The SEALs were on the ground for less than 40 minutes. DEVGRU itself had been founded in 1980 by Commander Richard Marcinko, who chose the name SEAL Team 6 to confuse Soviet analysts. At the time, only 2 SEAL teams existed. Then there is the work nobody puts in a press release. Battle of Takur Ghar, March 4, 2002. During Operation Anaconda, in the Shahi Kot Valley of eastern Afghanistan, a SEAL reconnaissance element was inserted onto a 10,000-foot mountaintop, already occupied by Al-Qaeda fighters. Petty Officer Neil Roberts fell from the ramp of a Chinook during a hot landing. He was killed on the ground. A quick reaction force of Rangers from the 75th, alongside Air Force combat controllers and pararescuemen from the 24th Special Tactics Squadron, fought a 17-hour battle to recover his body. 7 Americans died. Technical Sergeant John Chapman, a combat controller, was later awarded the Medal of Honor. Drone footage, declassified years afterward, showed he had survived the initial engagement and continued fighting alone. Think about what that actually means. And then there is Colombia. From 1992 to December 2nd, 1993, a joint task force, including Delta Force operators, the Drug Enforcement Administration, and a signals intelligence unit then codenamed Centra Spike, hunted Pablo Escobar across Medellin. Centra Spike was the cover name of the intelligence support activity. They located Escobar by triangulating his radio telephone signal from the air. The Colombian search block made the kill. The Americans were never officially there, which brings us to the unit at the top of the pyramid. The intelligence support activity. The activity, Task Force Orange. It began in the summer of 1980 as the Field Operations Group, FOG, under Colonel Jerry King, created specifically to gather the human intelligence the CIA had failed to provide before Eagle Claw. 4 FOG officers were slipped into Tehran to prepare a second rescue attempt that never happened. On March 3, 1981, the unit was made permanent and renamed the United States Army Intelligence Support Activity. Its existence was a special access program. Its budget was hidden inside other budgets. Its operators wore civilian clothes, carried false identities, and were trained in surveillance, signals intelligence, and clandestine human intelligence, the work the CIA was supposed to do and often could not. By 1983, the unit was operating on the edge of legality. A subordinate cover entity, codenamed Yellow Fruit, was created to provide security and financial support for special operations programs. According to reporting in the Washington Post, the Los Angeles Times, and the New York Times in April of 1987, Yellow Fruit opened a numbered Swiss bank account that investigators later linked to the Iran-Contra affair and to Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North. Army leadership claimed they had not known Yellow Fruit existed. On December 8, 1983, Army Chief of Staff General John Wickham ordered Yellow Fruit and all related special operations shut down. Several officers were court-martialed for misuse of funds. The House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, HPSCI, only discovered the activity's existence through what its own internal memos called a discovery. Those memos are now declassified and held by the CIA's CREST Archive and the National Security Archive at George Washington University. The oversight that was supposed to exist did not exist. The committee that was supposed to be watching was not told. The unit had been running operations in Central America, in Lebanon, in the Philippines, and nobody on Capitol Hill could name it. The activity was not shut down. It was renamed Sintra Spike, Torn Victor, Gray Fox, Task Force Orange. The cover names rotated. The mission expanded. After the September 11th attacks, the unit was folded fully into JSOC and embedded with Delta and DEVGRU in Afghanistan, Iraq, Yemen, and Somalia. Today it is reportedly headquartered at Fort Belvoir, Virginia, under designations that change on a classified schedule. How do you erase a unit from the record? You don't. You just keep changing what it is called. So this is the structure. The Rangers who kick the door. The Green Berets who arrive before the war. The Night Stalkers who fly the mission. The SEALs and Delta who carry it out. The Marine Raiders of MARSOC stood up February 24, 2006, who fill the gaps. The pararescuemen and combat controllers of the 24th Special Tactics Squadron who keep the wounded alive and bring the aircraft in. And above all of them, beside all of them, ahead of all of them, the activity, the unit that finds the target before anyone else knows there is a target. Why does it matter that one of these units is still effectively invisible to the public that funds it? Why does it matter that the same congressional committees who failed to find Yellow Fruit in 1983 are the only ones authorized to oversee its successors today? Subscribe to Phantom Directive. Tell us in the comments which of these units you had never heard of before tonight, and which one you think we still don't know the real name of. Because the file is closed for now, but files like this one are never closed for long.